everyone, and welcome back to episode 44 of my F1 2016 Toro Rosso career mode, guys, where today we're here at the Italian Grand Prix. If you did miss the last episode, guys, I would highly recommend going back and watching it. It was a pretty damn crazy weekend at the Belgian Grand Prix, guys, but as you can see, currently down in 10th place at the moment with 47 points. Obviously, this is Toro Rosso's home Grand Prix, so hoping that we get a good result for the team here today. But obviously, let's just move then straight away into free practice, obviously the way we always start every single one of these videos, guys, and onto our track acclimatization lap. Fairly easy lap to nail, obviously, around this Monza circuit. Obviously, only 11 corners as well, so, you know, fairly easy. It's almost like Austria, and, you know, it's just a very easy track to get all 50 points, and yes, we do get the purple score there straight away. And now onto my qualifying sim lap. The Toro Rosso, as I said last time out, guys, really struggles at the top end of speed, so not really too sure how well it will fare here, but we managed to get the purple score there. Toro Rosso not expecting us to do too well this weekend, obviously, with the high-speed nature of this circuit. But you can see, up to 490 resource points. Obviously, if we do get an upgrade done, it will have to be this weekend, because we are going to cease the R&D moving into Singapore, guys. Obviously, really just want to work on Season 2, work on Season 2 car. You know, make sure, obviously, with that 25% boost you can get, obviously, we will be able to get so many points so quickly. I'd like to think, you know, we could go into Season 2 with maybe, you know, sort of 4,000 points, maybe. We've upgraded the barge boards here, guys, ready for next Grand Prix, at the Singapore Grand Prix. Obviously, we don't want to suffer too much. I'd like to still think, you know, we could still potentially score a few points in the final few races of the season. But as we can see in qualifying one here, we actually tried opting to go on a set of soft tyres to begin with there, guys, but coming to the end of the session, those soft tyres had left us down in P20, so we're going to have to go for one last flying lap here. But coming up towards the line, what position are we going to move into? Hopefully, you know, into Q2. But unfortunately, guys, we have just missed out on Q2 there for the Italian Grand Prix. P17 there, not what Toro Rosso wanted to see in this qualifying session. That is not how we wanted it to go. Look at that, Rio Haryanto up in P5 there, only a quarter of a second off pole position there, of provisional pole in that first qualifying session. The whole pack so tightly bunched in that first qualifying, but Nico Hulkenberg took the provisional pole, if you will, and my teammate was what stopped me from getting into Q2 there by just 0.03 of a second there, guys. Very, very unfortunate. We also saw both McLaren Hondas struggle and fall to the wayside by myself and Pascal Wehrlein, and both the Renaults there, guys. So definitely not what we wanted to see moving into this Italian Grand Prix. Definitely not as exciting as last time out at the Belgian Grand Prix, guys. But starting from P17, gonna have to do a lot of overtaking in the race. But as I said that, guys, let's move on then into the Italian Grand Prix.
Race day here in Italy once again. Monza, home to so many records. The smallest winning margin, for example. Do you remember in 1971, Peter Gethin beat Ronnie Peterson to the line by 1/100th of a second. There were 40 overtakes for the lead alone in 1965, and Kimi Räikkönen clocked a record top speed of 230 miles per hour here, just over a decade ago. So there's a lot to live up to then for all of our drivers today. With top speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, few places can hope to touch Monza's crown as the fastest circuit in Formula One. Hard braking zones going into 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, well, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some close action. It's a very tight turn 1 here and a very big braking zone. It's a corner, Anthony Davidson, where we've seen a number of lap 1 incidents in the past.
As you say, it's a very small piece of track when you have more than just one car trying to go through it. The actual run down towards the chicane is quite wide, so off the start, you'll often see drivers running 2 or maybe 3 abreast as they come up towards the braking zone. Everyone wants to brake late, of course, to win track position, and that tends to be where we see a lot of contact. You'll see the more experienced drivers kind of hang back a little into here and focus more on picking up the pieces from other people's incidents.
You've done incredibly well. You're in line to become the lead driver. Keep it up.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position. A very happy Felipe Massa starts second. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Ricciardo, Kimi Raikkonen and Rosberg, Grosjean, Vettel, Verstappen and Sergio Perez, Hülkenberg, Kvyat, Esteban Gutierrez and Ericsson, Nasser, Haryanto, Toro Rosso and Fernando Alonso, Button and Wehrlein, Jolyon Palmer and Kevin Magnussen rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So here we are then, guys, on the grid, ready for the Italian Grand Prix. It's going to be a very, very easy one-stop race here. Tyre wear usually isn't much of a factor at this Italian circuit, but we're going to load the car up on fuel so we can run rich revs during this Grand Prix. But let's move on then. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And away we go for the Italian Grand Prix. As you see, instantly Nasser gets off to an absolutely terrible start. But Fernando Alonso and Pascal Wehrlein to my right-hand side there both get off to absolutely incredible starts. They're going side by side towards turn 1. We're just going to try and keep it clean, you know, avoid contact with other cars here. Fernando Alonso just ahead of me locks up. But as you can see, coming into turn 1, it's an absolute car park. We get brake checked by Fernando Alonso as there's a Red Bull facing the wrong way. We get hit from behind as well. Not really too sure what we can say about that, as Alonso once again just refuses to move. And the safety car has been deployed already, guys, and we get an illegal overtake on Kevin Magnussen as well there, guys. But that really opened up the strategy here, because I was considering, and Kevin Magnussen absolutely brake checks us there. So that meant pretty much guaranteed that we had to move on to a set of medium tyres. You know, try and gamble them, try and make it to the end, guys. If Magnussen hadn't completely brake checked me there, maybe I would have tried staying out on the set of soft tyres. But we're going to have to go on a set of mediums, hoping, you know, we can stretch these tyres out to the end. But if they do, that could actually work out very, very well for us. The team don't have high hopes about my strategy call, though. They're going to try and get me onto a set of these super soft tyres to try and go 2 stops in this Grand Prix. But coming into the pits here, guys, obviously, this is basically just going to make or break our Grand Prix here. You know, really just going all out on this balls to the wall strategy, if you will. And hopefully, you know, obviously, we'll catch right back up to the rest of the grid before the safety car restart, guys. But changing the front wing as well. Going on to a set of the medium tyres here. Not too sure, well, how the tyres will fare. I'm kind of thinking, you know, they'll get to lap 10, lap 11, and they should be alright. But I'm wondering if, you know, they'll hit the cliff after that. But as you can see, now skipping on to lap 4, we've just about caught up to the safety car. As you can see, all the cars massively tightly bunched up against each other here. But let's get ready to start racing once again in the Italian Grand Prix. Already looking like we're going to try and attack Fernando Alonso into Parabolica here, but trying to maximise my run through Parabolica. We actually get an incredibly good run there, but Alonso obviously with the slipstream from all the guys ahead of him, we're not going to be able to utilise that as well as we would want to. But coming now down, looking up the inside, obviously miles for turn 1, we should be able to breeze past Fernando Alonso there. A couple of AI have already come into the pits there as well, guys. Remember to P18, P17, are we going to look up the inside of Magnussen into turn 1? We think about it, but we don't manage to do that. And Nasser from behind me has kept his nose in there, guys, and I didn't realise that. So that's meant we've both gone spinning. But that's come out far worse for him than it did do for myself there, guys, as we're now back down to P18 in this Grand Prix. But now moving on to the end of lap 5 here, my teammate has also decided to come into the pits. But let's just see how many positions we do make. Obviously, we ideally want to, you know, when all the other cars go into the pits, that we will be able to lead. But we now move up into P9, guys, and it's looking like the leader doesn't actually have that big a lead over me here. So I'm feeling confident at this stage. Obviously, if the tyres don't hit a cliff right at the very end of the Grand Prix, I was feeling confident, you know, maybe we could do as well as we did at Belgium last time, maybe get double back-to-back podiums here in this career. So see, now moving on to the end of lap 7, sorry, the start of lap 7 here, we've now moved up into P5 now of the Grand Prix, so it's looking very, very strong here. But now further on, coming down towards Ascari on lap 7, you can see, just up on our left-hand side here, Jenson Button has actually span it around. Not too sure what's happened to him there, guys. We'll have to have a look on the replay cameras there, but he's managed to get safely out of the way there, guys, luckily for him. Obviously, luckily for myself here as well. It's not too easy to try and adjust your line through Ascari. It's very much just a one-line corner. But you can see, let's just have a look then. He's going side by side with the Haas. I think that might be a Esteban Gutierrez there, but don't count me on that. And as you can see, he tries holding it around the outside there, manages to get the inside, just gets hit on the side pod there, guys. And unfortunately, that is Jenson Button facing the wrong way, guys. He luckily manages to get out of the way, but now he's just going to try and come back onto the track here, obviously. But let's just move on then further on into this Grand Prix here. As you can see, we're now up into P4 behind Fernando Alonso, and it's looking like these top 3 guys may have to pit very, very soon. But now Lewis Hamilton is out of the Grand Prix, and so is Jenson Button. What has happened to those two now? I'm going to guess that's from Jenson Button trying to resume the Grand Prix now, whether he's just got in the way of Lewis Hamilton here. But let's just have a look then. from Jenson Button's point of view here, Lewis Hamilton even, we might have a look at him on the onboards first, because obviously he was the first driver to go out. But let's just have a look then. Coming through Ascari, Button's absolutely parked on the exit. Don't say no. No, they've just gone straight into each other there, guys. That is not what Hamilton needed. As you can see, that's an absolutely incredible shot there, guys. As we're looking from Daniel Ricciardo in the car behind. See Lewis Hamilton just go straight into him. Daniel Ricciardo is lucky only to lose his front wing there, guys. But Button and Hamilton, two of my British team, British rivals, if you will, are now both out of this Grand Prix. Obviously, they're nowhere near me on the point standing so far this season. But that is an absolutely monumental crash there, guys. Such a huge impact. No idea how there's not been a safety car released after that there, guys. But that has meant that Lewis Hamilton has lost a huge chunk of his championship lead here. But now looking on towards the end of lap 7, we've got no more drivers had opted to come into the pits at the end of that lap. But now moving on to lap 8 here, guys. Is Fernando Alonso actually going to dive into the pit lane? Yes, he does. What position are we going to move up into, guys? It's going to be the lead of the Italian Grand Prix, and absolutely incredible to see. Luckily for me, Lewis Hamilton was actually in the net lead, if you will, and he was about sort of 3 seconds up the road from Rosberg. But now, as you can see, cycling through these next few laps, Rosberg is still so far behind me, guys. He's catching up massively, though, if you have a look on the mini-map, guys. But I'm literally, whilst I'm racing, I'm trying to do the mental maths here, trying to work out whether he will be able to jump me or not by the very end of the Grand Prix, guys. As you can see, moving on into the final lap, Rosberg is still 4 seconds behind me, guys. So I don't want to speak too soon, but I think, in all honesty, guys, this is going to be our Grand Prix to win. Obviously, Toro Rosso took their first ever win here at this Italian Grand Prix circuit, and we're going to take their second here once again at the Italian Grand Prix there, guys. It was completely down to the strategy. I had very little race space there, guys, but we have won the Italian Grand Prix. So a hugely emotional result there, guys, obviously for myself and for the team. It's the first win we've taken, obviously, since the restart of my career mode, guys. And what a place to do it, especially for Toro Rosso. Obviously, their home Grand Prix, 8 years earlier, Sebastian Vettel obviously took that incredible victory for the team in the wet. But we have joined him now as Toro Rosso race winners, hoping, we might be able to take a four World Championships as well, But obviously, we'll have to wait and see about that, guys. But just an absolutely incredible race. When I got brake checked by Kevin Magnussen, guys, I honestly thought it was over at that moment. But obviously, we just used the tyres, used the strategy as well as we could. As the team, as Anthony Davidson will probably say, the safety car completely changed that race, though, guys. But P1 in the Italian Grand Prix, 2 podiums in a row, guys. It doesn't get much better than this. But anyway, guys, Nico Rosberg in P2 managed to gain massively on his teammates' misfortune there. Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen ever closing further and further in on Mercedes in this constructors' standings at the moment. Valtteri Bottas and Felipe Massa take 2 very good races for Williams there to bring home P5 and P6. With Nico Hülkenberg 7th, Max Verstappen in 8th, Romain Grosjean 9th, and Marcus Ericsson for Sauber scores another point for them, guys, in this career mode. Just proving, it doesn't just take me to be able to get Sauber into the points, be able to drag Marcus Ericsson back into the points. But Esteban Gutierrez, unfortunately for him, just missed out. My teammate gets P12, Jolyon Palmer 13th, Rio Haryanto 14th, Pascal Wehrlein 15th, Kevin Magnussen 16th, Sergio Perez having a very bad day out for him, down in P17, Alonso 18th, Ricciardo after that front wing change, down in P19, with Felipe Nasr in P20, and Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton obviously not making it to the end there, guys. But we have now moved up into P8 overall in the standings there. Obviously, we've been able to jump both Nico Hülkenberg and Jenson Button there, guys, and that means we're just 2 points off being best of the rest, as I like to call it. We're just behind Valtteri Bottas there, guys. So that would probably be my main championship aim this year. Maybe, if we get a few good results and Daniel Ricciardo struggles further, we might be able to get, close to him. Russell, Red Bull's feathers there. That wouldn't be very ideal for him there, guys. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this Grand Prix as much as I did. Thank you for watching, guys. It's been an absolutely incredible day for myself, for the team, and for this career mode. Toro Rosso will have moved up now as well, up into P7 overall in the constructors' standings, jumping both my old team Sauber and also Haas F1, guys. But as I said, thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.